Previously on the Beam Chronicles.
You left me behind, Charlie. And I can't even be mad at you for doing it. I just cannot believe you actually did. Right or left? Which one of you suckers deserves it more? This stupid exclusive special on me and the origin of my scars.
They don't care if it's factual as long as it's interesting. And the stories line up close enough with the scars, better than telling them the truth, right?
I just wish you would have told me, kid.
Disappointing. As demonstrated by you at the wedding itself.
That was the first time she ever addressed my behavior at the wedding directly. You found her.
I never lost her.
She was here the whole time.
Fight back, you evil fucking bastard! Fight back!
I am the president. You cannot...
Charlie.
Hey, JT. I kinda missed you.
These are the Beam Chronicles, with your host, MJ Dooney. Book 3, Cataclysm. Chapter 4, Jaxon Teaque.
I'd spent a substantial amount of time picturing this very moment in my brain over the last 2 years. And bear in mind, this was in spite of the insistence from every therapist in the psych department that doing so was unhealthy and a pointless exercise. Fantasizing and trying to predict my reunion with Charlie, an event that frankly was impossible, was driving me away from accepting that she really was gone. I did it anyway, in spite of their warnings, because it felt too good thinking about it, and they helped me overcome the insomnia. Plus, joke's on them, because here we were. But the practice did not help. Running through the different scenarios in my head a million times over the course of 2 years while I was trying to fall asleep didn't prepare me for what was happening when I finally got her back. Because all of my mental dramatizations were blisteringly passionate. Sometimes we would fight, sometimes we would kiss, sometimes we would just laugh and dance like lunatics until we tore each other's clothes off and banged until the sun came up, but never, in the wildest, most fringe samples of my imaginary possible outcomes, did it go like this. Sitting on the front porch, elbows resting on my thighs, chin resting on my hands, listening to the soft winter wilderness surrounding her little cabin. And her next to me, exactly the same, not making a sound, not moving an inch, just sitting and waiting. No passion at all, no emotion at all. Lovers separated by 2 years of agony, and this is how we responded when it ended. Awkward, painful silence. I finally clapped my hands together and sat up straight, basically just to break up the tension, just to make any noise at all. She responded by leaning back as well, grabbing her elbow and biting her thumb. I had to speak. I had to say anything. You look amazing, Charlie. She twitched one corner of her mouth up for just a quick instant.
Thanks. You look like a hobo.
Yeah, I know.
I dig the beard, actually.
She brushed her own chin.
Normally I hate facial hair, but it looks pretty good on you.
Yeah. I've been meaning to shave, actually. Caraway hates it. She raised her eyebrows, swiveled her head away from me, snorting and nodding.
Caraway, huh?
Oh, right. Shit. I cringed, palming my forehead and hissing through my teeth. Maria, not Caraway. She hates it when I do that, too.
Huh.
Charlie scoffed, shook her head, started biting her thumb again while I internally beat the living hell out of myself. How could I bring up Maria 3 sentences into what should have been our glorious reunion? My marriage was the last thing I wanted to talk about with Charlie. I looked for you, you know? She didn't turn to face me. For about a month, it's literally all I did.
I know. I sixed you doing it. That was back when I used to just sit around and six you practically all the time.
Used to? You don't. You don't six me anymore? She shrugged, switching to the opposite thumb, scooting just slightly away from me.
Sometimes, not often, just now and then to make sure you're alive. Gotta move on eventually, right? You did.
It stung me so hot, so deep I was short of breath and melting. The piercing dagger of her cavalier confession. She didn't care about me anymore. But I held on to a glimmer of hope that she was just being cruel. Just punishing me for talking about Maria, because usually when Charlie meant something, she looked you in the face to say it. Oh, hey. I excitedly remembered something better to talk about. Happy birthday, by the way.
Thanks.
I didn't get you anything.
Yeah, well, you thought I was dead. That's a pretty good excuse.
I'll get you 3 presents next year to compensate for the ones I missed. Deal? She scoffed, maybe half smiled, and it lit up my soul in a way I never thought it'd be lit again. But then she calmly brushed me aside.
You don't have to.
Another miserable gap. I had to fill it with anything, and for some strange reason, all I could think about was my drunken antics on December 20th 1 year ago. Hey, so, you know your last birthday?
I know of it, yes.
You want to hear what I did?
Fucked Caraway?
What? I was too surprised and hurt to get angry, too eager to keep talking for it to strike me the way it should have. No, that was before Caraway came back, Charlie.
Ah, my mistake. Sorry.
She rolled her eyes dismissively. I frowned. Well, anyway, I was really drunk. Okay, I don't drink anymore, but at the time, I guess I was always really drunk, and I started calling you, paging your earpiece, you know. Do you still have that, by the way?
I think so. Probably. I'm sure it's inside somewhere. I had to disable it after I,
She lifted her hands to make finger quotes.
died.
Right. Couldn't leave any traces of being alive or the deal expired. Prophet filled me in on the details. She ignored me for the most part, nodding slightly. So anyway, I got the idea in my head on your last birthday that I should start calling you. And the automated voice thing was telling me over and over again that the number was out of service, but it didn't matter. I just kept thinking, maybe this is the one. Maybe this time I'll call her right after she regroups again and she'll answer it this time. Over and over again, I just kept calling and calling. It had to be at least 800 times.
Close. 796.
Huh?
I was sixing you doing it, and I was counting. 796 times you paged me.
You were counting?
Yeah.
She smiled, a genuine, perfect, nostalgic smile. It was the closest she'd gotten yet to the Charlie I used to know.
I mean, at first it was just funny. How wasted you were, stumbling around, redialing the same number. At first I thought you were so drunk you thought it was a novel idea you came up with every time you did it.
To be frank, I can't rule that possibility out. It was kind of a wild night. Specifically the end of it, but I wasn't going to talk about that part.
Eventually, I started cheering you on, hoping for one more. Then before I knew it, I was engulfed by the whole stupid charade. It was keeping my pulse running, the count. That you would just keep doing it, keep calling, looking for me, it meant that it was still going. We were still burning on, still had a chance. As long as you kept calling me, it was still alive. It still lingered, and every time you hung up and took a swig, I was miles away, begging you in my head to do it again. One more time. Don't give up on me. Keep holding out.
Something changed in her expression, but she still wouldn't look at me to let me accurately judge. The tone of her voice lost most of its cheer, though, dipping just slightly into despair, dipping completely into anger.
One more time, you fucking ass. Don't quit.
She looked up at me, snarling. Charlie,
Think if you had actually gotten the 800, you would have held on just a little bit longer. Think you could have made it to today without...
She ground her teeth together, shaking her head, looking back at the ground. I stopped because I got voicemail. Why I felt the need to defend this, the freaking symbolism of my inebriated actions, I had no idea. I recorded you a message. I didn't give up on you, Charlie. In fact, I poured my guts out to you that night.
You poured your guts out to no one. I didn't get it. My earpiece was disabled, remember? You'd probably sent it to Maria by mistake.
I couldn't understand why she kept coming back to Maria, or... Okay, I mean, I could, but I wish she would stop and give me a chance. You didn't six me the rest of that night, did you? After call 796, once I started recording the voicemail, you quit, right?
Yeah, I stopped. Why? What does that matter?
Nothing, never mind. This whole story had the opposite effect of what I intended. I had come up with something better. I was just about to start talking about Sydney, a mutually interesting topic for us. One she'd probably at least be well-mannered towards. When she took a deep breath, turned her head toward me, and feigned a barbed, pungent smile.
Beautiful wedding.
She mocked me so sarcastically I had to scoff. Thank you.
And how was the honeymoon?
We didn't go on a honeymoon.
No, why not? Couldn't make it to the airport? Too busy screwing like rabbits in the limo all the way back to the hotel?
Stop it. I finally got the nerve to oppose her abusive taunts of my attempts to have a life after she died. Jesus Christ, what's your problem? We didn't go on a honeymoon because we got into a big argument on the night of the wedding. I didn't even talk to her for 2 weeks after that. So shut the hell up.
What'd you argue about?
It doesn't matter.
No, come on, I'm curious.
You. We argued about you. Sydney found me at the end of the night, wasted out of my mind after 5 months of sobriety, and when he brought me to Maria, I called her Charlie. Standing there in her fucking wedding gown, in front of all of her friends and all of her family, in walks her alcoholic new husband, who promised her 1,000,000 times he'd never drink again, slung across the best man's shoulders, too drunk to stand up straight, and he calls her the wrong fucking name. Just like that, the whole room knew the wedding was a farce, including the bride, so yeah, we skipped the honeymoon. For a few moments, we sat quietly. I thought I'd finally struck a nerve for her, maybe quenched her stupid thirst to talk about Maria. But then she snorted, leaned over to me, raised her eyebrows, and asked coyly,
How was that makeup sex, though?
I'm not entirely sure we ever made up.
I'm kidding.
She smirked. The whole display that she'd even dare ask was just too icy and self-satisfied not to hit her back. How about you, Charlie? It had to get boring up here in this cabin all by yourself. I'm sure you were the talk of the town. Little place like this, prettiest girl for miles. I bet you fucked all kinds of guys last 2 years, huh? She spun to face me, first in complete shock, then in complete fury. At least I'd finally managed to coax any sort of reaction out of her beyond judgmental sarcasm.
All right, first of all, you got married, asshole. So I hardly think it counts as some sort of infidelity on my part if I happen to fuck some other guy in the last 2 years. Second of all, you got married, asshole. Therefore, it's none of your goddamn business who I fuck. And third of all, no, I haven't, but obviously I should have. 2 years later, still only you, asshole.
Fuck off.
Don't believe me?
No, I mean seriously, fuck off. What's the matter with you? Honestly, you don't get to act like this. You don't get to call me an asshole for trying to have a life without you. I know you're really accustomed to this pattern in our confrontations, where I'm the short-sighted nincompoop and you illuminate how ignorant I'm being, and then I apologize to you, and you mercifully forgive me. This isn't one of those times, Charlie. Your anger isn't half as justified as mine is.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize this was a competition.
I thought you were dead! I was practically shouting as I jumped to my feet, trying to cut through her sarcastic dismissiveness. Perhaps it'd take the whole story to accomplish that. Fine. Give her what she so clearly wanted. If Howie was hurting you, torturing you, I would have found you. I scoured the globe. Do you understand me? I looked everywhere, relentlessly. Even after Sydney gave up, I buried myself in the search. It devoured me. I didn't even talk to anyone. I didn't sleep. And then I had the sparkling epiphany that if Howie had really taken you somewhere, he would be trying to stop me from finding you, and he wasn't. He gave me the full range of Beam's technology to track you down. He even offered to help me.
Because he knew I'd hide. Whenever you got close, I'd bolt. Otherwise, the deal was off.
She said softly, again without looking at me, when she finally lifted her head. I took a longer look in her eyes and noticed the darkness and sorrow for the first time. It lined up with mine so perfectly, mirror images. I wondered if she noticed herself. She looked down, stood up, paced away from me, picked up a stick.
Keep going.
I knew nobody could hold you against your will, except Howie. So if Howie wasn't doing it, it left me with two possibilities. Either you were dead, or you were alive, free and intentionally choosing not to be with me. I assumed that was impossible, which meant you had to actually be dead. You were dead. After a month of refusing to believe it, it finally struck me that you were dead. Can you imagine the ruin when I reached that conclusion? I mean, how do you come to grips with that? What was I supposed to do at that point? How would you have handled it if we'd switched roles?
I would have killed myself.
Yeah, exactly. Her neck flinched slightly, discovering that I tried to kill myself apparently made her want to look at me or say something until she remembered at the last second she wasn't doing that for some reason. Except we both know how Howie handles that decision, right?
You fucking idiot.
She growled under her breath and started stabbing the ground with the stick she picked up.
Keep going.
I lost count of how many times I actually succeeded in ending my own life. I lost count, Charlie, and you can't even imagine the depths of the anguish I had to get to in order to do some of the things that I did. I fucking mutilated myself. I disemboweled myself, ripped my beating heart from my own ribcage, and I'd wake up in that fucking room, down in the oubliette, a few minutes later in tip-top shape, ready to press on and finish what I'd started. I was never even gone long enough for Sydney or Murphy or anyone to realize I'd done it, and Howie stopped showing up to the resurrections eventually. He stopped trying to convince me that I didn't have the power to get out. Then when he started to realize how serious I was about it, when he figured out I was not going to quit, that's when he started leaving me the scars. I lifted my shirt to show her the disgusting patterns of scabbed flesh all around my torso, my back and arms, pointed to the scratch across my eye. She haphazardly glanced back at me, then looked away. See, the failsafe only reverts a body back to a previous state it occupied. She can't cure somebody with a birth defect or a genetic disorder. She can't undo something that's always been there. Only bring you back to what you used to be. Usually that doesn't matter, but if Howie wants her to, she can take you back to when the wounds were fresh. Let medical sew them up nice and tidy. That way, you're left with a pretty little reminder of your immortality.
They did a special on TV about your scars. I watched it, fabricated, right, Peter?
Peter. None of them are from battle. Every single one of them is from a different attempt to get out of a world without you. Every single mark on my body was a souvenir from a failed venture into the afterlife. A notice that trying to get away like that would never work, no matter what extremes I went to. These are suicide scars. Every single one of them. All of them to get back to you.
You idiotic fucking...
I waited for her to finish insulting me, to stop poking the ground with that stick, to apologize for being alive and well the whole time I was pulling myself to pieces. Instead, I got back more of the same.
Keep going.
I realized something about the failsafe, though. The longer removed I was from actually dying, the longer it took her to recover me, and the more pissed off Howie was about it potentially failing. Pushing me back further in time was more challenging, a higher potential to not work. I needed to kill myself so slowly, so gradually, that nobody would notice it was happening until it was done. And then if they tried to fail-safe me back, revert me to the moment before I started the process, it would be too much. Howie wouldn't risk it, the failsafe would die, and then we'd both finally be free. Either way was a victory. The only way I could get back to you was if I died so slowly and painfully and secretly. I'd cut myself in some private place deep enough for sepsis and gangrene to sink in, and then I'd cover it up. I'd wait until my body couldn't tolerate them anymore. Wait until Howie found me dead in my apartment. Roll me back 2 weeks, push the failsafe to its limits. I had to break her. I had to kill her if I wanted to get free. And that's when I started drinking. Like hardcore destructive drinking. It was after I started doing the long kills to help me cope with the festering wounds I had hidden from everyone. The elaborate plan I made to kill a baby so I could be a coward and give up. It made everything better. It dulled all the pain. It slowly ate away at the insides of me. Eventually, I withdrew entirely. I stopped making appearances in the real world. I even stopped trying to pretend I was all right when I was around Sydney. I didn't care about that. I didn't care about anything. Every waking second of my life, I was smashed on the floor, only pausing my constant intake to throw up, cry, or black out. So drastic a downward spiral, but I welcomed it. I wanted it. The darkness, the numbness, the escape from what you did to me, from where you left me behind. No pause in her circle drawing. I went for the big hit just to see if anything could get any reaction, pacing around so we were facing each other, even if she still refused to lift her head. After I called you 796 times on your birthday, you want to know why I asked you if you stopped sixing me? Because I popped this eye right out of the socket and I yanked my brain out of the hole. It came out like a long sausage, and I just kept pulling it and screaming until I couldn't see or hear or feel anything anymore until I finally found peace from it. That one didn't even hurt until after I got fail-saved. She abruptly sobbed, then quickly covered her mouth with her other hand, turned her back to me so I couldn't watch. I thought it'd make me feel better to see her distraught, but I was wrong. It was so much worse. That's when Caraway came back. Maybe Howie asked her to. Maybe Murphy. Maybe she just figured it out on her own. Hell, maybe I did leave her that voicemail accidentally, but she dragged me from the wreckage. She helped me dump out all my booze. She got me cleaned up. She made me tell Sydney about it. All of it. The suicide, the drunkenness, and you know he didn't understand. He didn't get any of it until someone explained it to him. Not really. I hated it. Watching him piece it together while I told him the way he looked at me, Charlie. You think you've seen Sydney mad? You should have seen him the day he found out how strongly I was trying to end myself. You should have seen his eyes. But over the course of months, I got better. Back on my feet. Hell, maybe even a little bit happy. Maria Caraway hoisted my useless carcass off the ground floor of Hades and salvaged my pathetic existence after you shredded it to pieces. So sorry if I used her as a crutch to give up on eviscerating myself in your name, but if any fraction of your grudge and blame and anger is directed toward her, can it now? She's just like everyone else in this mess. She deserves so much better than she got.
I didn't have a choice, you know?
She still wouldn't turn around.
If I didn't leave, he would have killed everyone and kept me alive to stew in it for eternity. There wasn't anything else I could do. He would have tortured you and made me watch if I stayed.
Well, thank you, Charlie. Thank you for striking up that deal with Howie to save me from all the fucking torture he had in store for me so I could self-administer it. A wonderful, delightful 2 years spent forcing the people I still cared about to remind me that I still cared about them when I wasn't physically removing vital organs and throwing myself in front of anything that moved fast enough to rip me apart. God, you really saved my ass, didn't you?
Keep going.
God damn it! I telekinetically yanked the stick out of her hand and splintered it, but she still refused to face me, so I grabbed her shoulder, spun her around, and held her in place. She didn't group out, didn't resist, just hung her head and cried. What the hell is wrong with you? I can't keep going, I can't, that's it. That's the end. I spent a year and a half drilling out my eyes so my brain would fall out of my skull, rather than live another minute without you. Maria and Sydney and Murphy brought me back before I drowned in it. Meanwhile, you were sitting here the whole time because Howard told you if you didn't, he'd punish me. That's the end. I can't keep going. Why do you insist on me continuing? Why do you like hearing about my pain?
I don't like hearing about it, you fucking idiot.
Then why? Why are you telling me to keep going?
Because it's the only way to make you stop. When you tell the story, when you're yelling it at me and blaming me and remembering all the shit you've been through, it's the only way to make you stop petting me.
I hadn't even realized how fervently I was eye-teaking her until she called it out. I manually switched it off, abruptly dropping her from my cocoon of telekinetic warmth, and watched her chest heave once, out then in. She seemed to regain enough composure to talk. She also seemed just slightly sadder.
And for those glorious moments, I can pretend that no matter what happens, you will never, ever forgive me for leaving you behind. For those glorious moments, I know I'm getting exactly the retribution a useless piece of shit like me deserves for abandoning you and Sydney and everyone the way that I did. Keep going, Jaxon, please. Keep going without me. Do not indicate that you have any intention of ever being anything but angry with me. Stop petting me. Please, stop loving me.
I was doing it again. I could not help myself. I clenched my fist to cut it off, give her the grace to finish her thoughts. She closed her eyes as tears streamed over her cheeks, and she tried one more time.
Be with your wife. Have your normal life, your happy ending. Forget me. Leave me here. I don't deserve it. I left. I did the one thing we swore we'd never do. I left you behind. I left you behind.
And she crumpled to the ground, bawling and shattered, a state I never wanted to see anyone in, least of all Charlie.
I think about that conversation I had with Howie 1,000 times a day, and I still have no idea how he convinced me to go. I don't understand how he convinced me to leave you because you're the only thing I thought about the whole fucking time.
I couldn't even handle it. I couldn't watch it in spite of all the torment she'd caused me, in spite of the agony of the last 2 years without her. She wanted me to hate her. She wanted me to cast her aside and move on. She wanted me to keep going, but I couldn't keep going. I couldn't keep hating her for what happened. Not Charlie. Not the love of my life. And it washed over me that quickly, instantaneously. I forgave her. I loved her forever, all over again. It wasn't as simple as that in moving on, but for right now, in that moment, it absolutely was. I fell to the ground and pulled her into me. She didn't fight, didn't resist, instead latched herself around my neck, sobbing softly into my shoulder. For the briefest of instants, for the first time in 2 years, as I rubbed her back and kissed the side of her head, I was happy again. If I closed my eyes and didn't think about it, I was back to the perfect world I had before Howie ran it through a meat grinder and ran over it with a steamroller. That was the key. It was Prophet's fault, just like everything from the beginning. Howie drove Charlie away, drove me and her apart. Howie kept me alive when I just wanted to die. Howie forced me into alcoholism and depression and insanity. And then, like it was a memo he forgot to pass on through all of this, he cavalierly tossed me my love back after he knew it was too late to do anything about it. It wasn't fair. He fucked up my whole life. The rage was justified, but where I released it was premature. It was finally time to stop cowering and seek my revenge on Howard Prophet. But the very notion that for even a second I'd considered taking this situation out on Charlie, I felt sick to my stomach just thinking about it. Howie was the enemy. Howie was the cause of it all. Charlie was a victim, just like I was. No, worse. And he'd actually almost managed to turn us against each other temporarily. But not even 2 years of self-inflicted torment could do that for longer than 5 minutes. This is not the ending that I wanted for us, love, I said, cradling her firmly in my arms.
But hell of a lot better than the one I expected, or shit, even the one we deserve.
If it were me, if he had come to me instead, if he offered me the same deal, I would have taken it too, and we would be in a very different place right now than we currently are. You would have held yourself together, Charlie, without me.
I really, really fucking wouldn't have.
You would. I know you would. You would have gotten by. You were always stronger than I was, way tougher. You still are, I think. And hey, at least you wouldn't have gotten married, right?
No, I definitely would have married Sydney.
Prior to today, I didn't think we'd ever laugh together again. But there we were, huddled into a ball, into each other, on the ground in front of this shitty cabin, laughing and sobbing together. Every bit in love as we were when she died. I spent the night with her. We made love with all the passionate release of 2 years' worth of longing compressed into that one night. And it was the purest, brightest, warmest, most perfect piece of happiness I'd felt since the day she left me. Not vicarious, not approximate, not good enough. Perfect. And yet beneath it all, the festering rot of a guilty thought burrowed into my brain. How the hell was I going to tell Maria?
Thank you for listening to The Beam Chronicles, a fiction podcast written and produced by me, MJ Dooney. You can follow the show on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter. If you want to email me, beamchronicles@gmail.com, and if you want to help me out, 5 stars on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. You can also send me monetary support if you're so inclined. Buy me at coffee.com/beamchroniv, that's BEAMCHRONIV, or just click the support the show link in the description. All music and sound effects were sourced from the Epidemic Sound Library. Special thanks to Sergio Duarte for creating the cover art for the show, and thanks again for listening.